This month, Hindus were attacked in Bangladesh. 6 people died, temples were vandalized, puja pandals were destroyed. The world is holding a mob of bigots responsible for this riot. And there's no doubt they are responsible, they're guilty. But there's another culprit that must also be held accountable. And that's Facebook. That's where the riot began. Facebook allowed a provocative post to spread. It featured a copy of the Quran. The Quran was placed at the knee of a Hindu deity. The post was deliberate. It was supposed to incite a mob, and that's exactly what it did. This post went viral. It was allowed to spread. And this has become a template in incidents of violence across the world. It doesn't matter where it's happening. Bangladesh, Myanmar, India, America. Facebook almost always has a role to play in cases like these. It fuels the fire. The internet was supposed to promote democracy. But Facebook has weaponized the internet, so much so that it is being used to attack democracies. How did things come to such a pass? Well, we have some insider accounts to explain what happened. A whistleblower is exposing Facebook. This week, several news organizations have published thousands of internal documents from Facebook. They're being called the Facebook Papers. And these papers expose the rot within Facebook. They show how Facebook allows fake news to spread, how it enables human trafficking, how it helps people incite violence. On Gravitas tonight, we'll show you the true face of Facebook. We begin with the most damning revelations, and these are about India. In February 2019, a Facebook researcher opened a new user account. They wanted to understand how the platform behaves for someone who is new. And the test was very simple. They followed everything the Facebook algorithm recommended. So if Facebook recommended a page, they liked it. If it recommended a group, they joined it. If it suggested a video, they watched it. The result was this. The recommendations were filled with hate speech, misinformation, and celebration of violence. That's what Facebook was encouraging people to do. Allow me to tell you what the researcher wrote at the time. Following this test user's news feed, I have seen more images of dead people in the past 3 weeks than I have seen in my entire life total. And this comment was part of an internal Facebook report. So Facebook knew that its platform spreads hate. In fact, just before the Delhi riots in 2019, inflammatory content on Facebook spiked by 300%. The company knew about this too. They knew this kind of post was spreading, 300% increase. What did Facebook do about it? It chose to hide all of this. Imagine what a country's security agencies could do with information like this. It's a clear red flag. It should have set alarm bells ringing. Security agencies could have mobilized in advance. They could have deployed forces to maintain communal harmony, to prevent a riot, but Facebook chose to remain silent. And with this decision, Facebook put lives at risk. This was in 2019. We are hearing about it only now because of Frances Haugen, the Facebook whistleblower. She is the one who made these papers public. According to her, Facebook is not just hiding the truth, it is also deceiving the world when it comes to hate speech. In public, Facebook claims to remove more than 90% of hate speech from its platform, 90%. In reality, she says, Facebook takes down less than 5% of hate speech. This whistleblower believes that Facebook is pushing anger and hate.
I've seen lots of research that says that kind of ranking, engagement-based ranking, prioritizes polarizing, extreme, divisive content. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or on the right, it pushes you to the extremes, and it fans hate, right? Anger and hate is the easiest way to grow on Facebook.
Anger and hate are given priority on Facebook, she says. The algorithm is designed that way. Since 2017, posts with an angry emoji were ranked higher than a like. What's the proportion like? 5-1. The angry emoji is 5 times more valuable than a like on Facebook. And it isn't just hate speech. Facebook also allowed human trafficking on its platform. They had an internal report about it back in September 2019. This is what it said. From recruitment to facilitation and exploitation, Facebook allows traffickers to do everything. And this is happening across Facebook services. Recently, a media organization found that Instagram accounts of some traffickers were still active. They were offering domestic workers for sale. Can Facebook stop it? Yes, it can. So why isn't Facebook stopping human trafficking on its platforms? Because it involves money. And Facebook does not want to spend money to keep its users safe. It only wants to use your data to make more money.
I think there is a view inside the company that safety is a cost center. It's not a growth center, which I think is very short term in thinking. Because Facebook's own research has shown that when people have worse integrity experiences on the site, they are less likely to retain.
Safety means spending money. It hurts the bottom line, so Facebook won't do it, even when lives are at stake. Look at how the company behaved in Ethiopia. Facebook knew it is being used to incite violence in Ethiopia. It knew that armed groups are using Facebook to target ethnic minorities. Facebook detected the accounts that were inciting violence. It managed to close some of them. But it failed to close many others. How did that happen? Again, money. Facebook did not hire enough people and deploy enough tools to handle the flood of content. Haugen believes Facebook's algorithms actually fanned the violence in Ethiopia rather than stopping it. So Facebook allows fake news to spread. It is causing riots and violence. It is spreading hate. It is making people angry. In any other company, such damaging allegations would make heads roll. So much bad press would put the future of the entire company at stake, but Facebook is bigger than all of this. If you are Facebook, you don't just weather the storm, you make money off it. As all of this evidence came out, guess what happened to Facebook shares? They went up. The company is still making exponential profits. In the third quarter of this financial year, Facebook made $29 billion in revenue. That's 35% more compared to last year. More users are joining Facebook platforms. The company's daily active users have increased to almost 3 billion. 3 billion daily active users. Almost half the world's population is on Facebook every day. What explains this? Facebook is in the middle of a major scandal, but it's still making money hand over fist. And there's a reason for that. Facebook as a company faces no implications for these serious lapses because they hardly affect the company's bottom line. In 2019, Facebook was fined $5 billion for privacy violations by the American regulators. $5 billion. This was the largest penalty imposed on a tech company ever. But for Facebook, this fine was like a speeding ticket. As of today, Facebook is worth almost $1 trillion. What's $5 billion for $1 trillion company? It's peanuts. So if world leaders are serious about taking on big tech, they must hit their profits. Platforms must be taxed for allowing hate speech and violent content to thrive. And until that happens, companies like Facebook will continue to profit from hate. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.